Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a really fantastic masterclass. We are going to explore exactly how to transform a dry, skeletal outline into a vivid, truly memorable spoken presentation. We'll be breaking down this fascinating lecture from Dr. Mathewson on preaching and storytelling. But trust me on this, whether you're giving a keynote, pitching a product, or, delivering a sermon, the principles we're going to extract from this source material are totally universal. It's really all about the craft of keeping your audience right on the edge of their seats. Listen to this brilliant quote from Dr. Mathewson that perfectly sets the stage for our explainer today. Any story can bore or thrill an audience. What makes the difference is the storyteller. I love this as a cold open because it highlights such a crucial truth. Delivering a compelling narrative isn't just some magical gift you're either born with or not. It's an active craft. It's a skill set we can all master if we just know the right techniques. So, how do we actually become that thrilling storyteller? Here's our roadmap for the Craftsman's Workshop today. 1. Flesh on the skeleton. 2. The elements of style. 3. Painting pictures with words. And finally, 4. Entering and exiting. All right, section 1, flesh on the skeleton, moving beyond the outline. This first step, it really focuses on the very foundation of our presentation. We all know we should start with an outline to organize our thoughts, right? But the crucial point here is that an outline is simply not enough. Stopping at the outline is where a lot of speakers completely fail their audience. Haddon Robinson gives us this really powerful metaphor. An outline resembles a skeleton without flesh. Think about that for a second. If you just get up there and read a list of bullet points, you're literally presenting dry bones to your audience. To actually thrill an audience, a speaker's primary job is to make those dry bones live. You've got to add muscle, skin, and life to that structure so it can actually breathe and move. Okay, so how do we add that flesh? Well, Dr. Mathewson suggests a slightly counterintuitive process. Step 1. Write out a full manuscript, word for word, but, and this is key, write it in an oral style. That just means writing exactly how you talk. Got incomplete sentences? Totally fine. You aren't writing a formal English paper, you're writing speech. The act of writing is really a way of thinking, and agonizing over the exact words helps solidify your ideas. Step 2 is to just read it the night before. And step 3, this is absolutely vital. Internalized, do not memorize. You aren't taking this manuscript on stage to read like a robot, no way. You're using the writing process to internalize the flow and the specific phrasing so that it just naturally sticks with you when you present. Moving right along to section 2, the elements of style, editing for impact. Once you have that manuscript written out in your conversational voice, it's time to put on your editor's hat. This is where we refine our materials and turn weak, passive words into powerful action. Really, this is the granular work that separates the amateurs from the master storytellers. Dr. Mathewson outlines 5 crucial rules of stylistic editing to draw listeners directly into a story. 1. Use concrete words. 2. Avoid excessive modifiers. 3. Eliminate deadeners. 4. Don't be too clever. And 5. Show rather than tell. Let's break down exactly how to apply these, because honestly, a few minor tweaks here can completely transform your presentation. Check out this comparison. You could say, David goes to the front of the cave. Now, it's accurate, sure, but it's completely lifeless. But what if we change it to, David creeps to the front of the cave? By just changing that general verb goes to the highly concrete verb creeps, you instantly add tension, mood, and action. Your listener can suddenly picture the stealth and the danger. That is the incredible power of a concrete word. And that brings us to a really fantastic insight regarding rule number 2, avoiding excessive modifiers. Legendary writers like Carl Sandburg and Ernest Hemingway, they actively distrusted adjectives. Why? Because amateur speakers try to use adjectives and adverbs to pick up the slack left by weak verbs and nouns. Instead of saying a really big rock, just say boulder. Instead of saying someone ran very fast, say they sprinted. Rely on strong nouns and active verbs, not just a pile of adjectives. Now let's tackle rule number 3, eliminating deadeners. And by deadeners, we're basically talking about the passive voice. Just listen to this passive sentence. Goliath's forehead was struck by a stone. It uses the word was, and it just sucks the vigor right out of the action. Now compare that to the active voice. David hurled a stone from his sling and struck Goliath's forehead. Do you hear how much more zip and momentum that has? It's a real game changer. You can actually use tools to scan your manuscript for words like is, was, or were, and just flip those sentences into a dynamic, active voice. And then there's rule number 5, show, don't tell. You want your audience to conclude or feel something for themselves, right? Rather than you just dictating it to them. Saying Goliath was an incredible hulk of a man tells the audience he's big. But saying when Goliath stood in the doorway, he filled the entire frame actually shows them. It brilliantly illustrates his intimidating scale, and it lets the listener independently feel the shadow he casts. All right, section 3, painting pictures with words, crafting mental scenes. Now that we've edited our individual words for maximum impact, we kind of need to zoom out a little bit. We need to focus on crafting entire mental scenes in the minds of our audience. Because, as the source points out, people respond to the pictures that hang in the gallery of their minds. To do this, a communicator has to construct 2 vital types of images. First up are explanatory images. This is when you take historical, cultural, or technical data and paint it as a scene rather than just reading a dry list of facts. Second are application images. This is where you translate the abstract truth or lesson of your presentation into highly relatable, modern, everyday behaviors. Let's explore how to execute both of these, but let's start with a massive pitfall you absolutely need to avoid. So the crucial point here is this absolute rule. Never, never, never say to your audience, "Let me give you some background." Stating background facts or, reading from a dictionary puts people right to sleep. They'll instantly start thinking about what they're having for lunch. Instead, you've got to weave your research directly into the story. You paint an explanatory image. Dr. Mathewson beautifully captures this concept when he was preaching on the Israelites crossing the Jordan River. He didn't just stand there and give geographical stats. He did his research, sure, but then he painted this scene. He described the springtime snow runoff turning the river into a swollen, chocolate-brown mess, tearing off chunks of cliff as it twists and turns and spits and thrashes. By doing that, he helps the listener enter the story and actually feel the terrifying challenge of crossing it. The research is just totally hidden inside a vivid scene. So how do we apply the abstract lesson? Well, telling an audience we must be courageous in our unique situations is true, but it's abstract and entirely forgettable. Instead, translate that into a specific application image, like this. You lack the courage to say you may not download that app. That translates the ancient, abstract concept of courage into a highly specific, visceral, modern parenting struggle. It shows exactly what the truth looks like, fleshed out in the listener's everyday life. Section 4. Entering and exiting, opening doors and landing planes. We are in the home stretch now. We've talked about the meat of the presentation, but how do we design the perfect entrance to hook them, and how do we safely execute the exit without ruining all our hard work? Dr. Mathewson shares Haddon Robinson's formula for the perfect brief introduction. Listen, your intro is not the place for long rambling. It has 3 really fast jobs. 1. Create interest. Use a cold open, a quote, an anecdote. 2. Raise a need. By the end of your intro, the listener should be thinking, man, I desperately need to hear this because it solves a problem I struggle with. And 3. Orient them to the text or the core topic. Give them just enough of a preview so they know where we're headed, and then get right into the story. Now on the flip side, we got to pivot to the conclusion. And this brings up a highly relatable question for anyone who has ever spoken in front of a crowd. How do you know when to stop talking? I mean, we've all been in the audience when a speaker reaches a great natural climax and then just keeps going, completely deflating the energy in the room. The rule here is incredibly simple, but honestly, really difficult to master. Land the plane. If you have ever flown, you know the deep frustration of arriving at your destination only to have the pilot announce that you're just gonna circle the airport due to air traffic. It's agonizing. When you reach the high point, your big aha moment in your presentation, make your brief application and finish. Do not subject your audience to endlessly circling the airport just because you don't know how to stop. And here is the absolute ultimate cheat code to ensure a smooth landing, tying everything back to our very first step. Writing your final thoughts word for word in your manuscript is the best possible way to ensure a precise, impactful ending. Think about it. When you don't script your exit, you start coming in for a landing, feel like it wasn't quite right, taxi around and try again. Writing it out guarantees you hit the runway smoothly and leave a lasting, powerful impression on your audience. So, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought based on our explainer today. The next time you're called upon to speak, are you going to settle for handing your audience a skeleton, or will you use this craftsman's toolkit to bring those dry bones to life? Whether you are pitching to a board or telling a story to a crowd, use concrete words, use active verbs, paint those mental pictures, and always, always remember to land the plane. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the storyteller's craft. Until next time, keep learning and keep explaining.